Today we're going to go online and I'm going to show you some of the best places to get free sounds, and then we're going to find some and see if we can turn them into a nice piece of atmospheric soundtrack music. What's up everyone, I'm Ishan Kadaru aka Push for Life, and on this channel I help musicians, beatmakers and producers level up their skills by sharing over 25 years of my experience in the music industry to help you build a solid foundation and become the best version of yourself. So, sound good? Let's get right to it. Up until not too long ago, creating film music was a very expensive business. Studio time, session musicians, sound engineers, and many more people were involved, which meant large budgets were mandatory. These would range from $100,000 to multiple millions depending on how famous the composer was. But technology has changed all of this. Not only has the process become more affordable, but with the advent of the internet and the amount of competition everyone faces, some of the best sound designers and sound library developers in the world have made an amazing array of sounds available for people like you and I to use for free. And I'm going to show you where to find some of my favorites in a second. First, let's consider why it is so important to have access to great sounds. When we create music in our studios, we're like cooks in a kitchen, and every great chef will tell you quality ingredients are at the heart of a delicious dish. The higher quality the ingredients, the better the dish. As simple as that. And it's the same when it comes to making music in our studios. The higher quality the sounds are that we use, the more potential our music has of sounding great. Another thing to consider is that if you're anything like me, good sounds are what really inspire you in that initial writing process and help you come up with those ideas to begin with. If I sit down to write a string part and have some basic preset sound like this, I'm not going to be as inspired as when I use something like this. The sounds themselves evoke clearer images in my mind and in my heart of the emotions that I'm trying to get across. And that is what is most important when it comes to making something like soundtracks. So you're probably wondering where to get some of these really beautiful sounds for free. Let me show you some of the best places online where I like to get my free sounds. One of the best places to start for great sounding sound libraries is the Spitfire Audio Lab series. Here on the screen you can see some of the current libraries you can download for free, and they're always extending them. Christian Henson, one of the co-founders of Spitfire, also has a side project called Piano Book, which is a crowdsourced sample library with a lot of free homemade libraries, many of which are absolutely brilliant. And if you are an Ableton user like myself, then you have access to a nice selection of free Ableton packs, which are collections of sounds by different producers and sound designers. My favorite being Mad Zach's 64-pad lab, which I'll be using in a second. And last but by no means least, we have freesound.org, where you can download all kinds of sounds and recordings from amateurs to professionals. Now obviously this is just a tiny slice of what is available online for free in terms of sounds. So if you have anything that you highly recommend, please leave a link in the comments below for everyone to see. And if you want to see more of this type of content, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and also sign up for my newsletter where I share the coolest things that I come across online. Okay, I think I've done enough talking. Let's see if we can make a nice little atmospheric soundtrack piece using some of those resources that I just mentioned. So here is a template that I prepared earlier with some of my favorite free sounds from those resources that I just showed you. First of all, I'm just going to record a little loop using the Winter Voices sound from Piano Book. There we go. So now we have this nice little choir pad. Let's see what we can add to that to beef it up a little. First of all, I'm just going to copy this down like so. So we've got two scenes now. And now I'm going to go to Mad Zach's 64 lab that I mentioned. And this is the protocol preset. And on this preset, we have 64 pads laid out over the push with all different types of sounds, ranging from beats to different sound effect sounds. Stuff like that. So I think first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down a beat to give it like a nice little pulse. So let's see what we've got to work with here. Just quantize that. Alright, so next up I'm going to add some sounds that I've got off of freesound.org. Now, for those of you who are into modular synthesis, you may know of a company called Make Noise, and they have a module called the Morphagene, and it's a crazy module that you can do all kinds of really beautiful sound design stuff with. And what they've done is they've asked people who use this to just post what they call Morphagene reels on freesound.org. And I have one by an artist called Bana Haffars. I've taken it and I've chopped it up and put it into a drum rack. And now I have sounds like this. Just weird atmospheric modular sounds. So I'm going to see how I can build these into it to give it this sort of glitchy, organic vibe. So let's see what we can do there. Alright, I'm just going to record using these few sounds down here at the bottom. So let's see what we can do there. Here we go. Alright, so I'm really enjoying how this is coming along. Next up, I want to add some soft piano onto this just to give it that extra soundtrack vibe. And what better to use than the Spitfire Audio Labs soft piano. And what I've done is I've added some echo and reverb, and now it sounds like this. Just to add some character to it. So let's see what we can come up with using this sound. Alright, to top things off, I'm just going to add a nice little snare drum from the BBC Symphony Orchestra sound library from Spitfire Audio. Here's the sound. Let me just see what I can come up with on this one. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little reverb to that. think that's really coming together nicely. Let me just see if there's some last little bits and pieces I can add in just to make things a little more interesting. So I'm going to go back to Madzax 64 Pad Lab, just see if there's any sounds that might be fitting for this little piece of music. Alright, so I've just got together 4 sounds that I think will fit in nicely, and I'm just going to add them in now. Here are the 4 sounds just so you can hear them before we get going. Nice little rhythmic sound. Here's another one. Then this one. And finally this one. Alright, so I'm just going to record this and let's just see what happens. Alright, there we go. So let's just arrange this into a nice little piece of music and we're good to go. As you can see right here, I have gotten rid of everything that I didn't use in the template, and I've arranged it into a little arrangement using the scenes. So I'm just going to play through it right now and trigger each of the scenes as I feel intuitively, and then we should have a nice little piece of atmospheric soundtrack music. Here we go. And there you have it. We've created a nice little piece of atmospheric soundtrack music using free sounds sourced on the internet. And, you know, within 20-30 minutes, we created a track that is just over 2 minutes. Obviously, it still needs mixing, it needs tweaking and refining, but that's a great start if you consider, you know, how easy it was to get those sounds and just create something using Ableton Live. If you'd like to see more productions that I've created using Ableton Live, here is a series that I made recently called Adventures in Ableton. Make sure to check that out. I think you'll enjoy it if you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching. All the best for now. Peace.